a lot of times I used to say to my Marines, the four pillars are, are you getting enough sleep? Are you eating enough? Are you exercising enough? And where's your stress level at?
Ever feel like you're in a constant competition between your career and your husband's patience? Your kids think you work too hard, but hey, you're doing it all for them, right? The struggle is real, and I've been there too. Moments of feeling like a crappy mom and wife because once again, your kids had breakfast on their way to school, and you've got more important things on your plate than cooking and cleaning. Hey there, working moms who are juggling a million things and still wondering if you're doing it right. I'm Veronica Cisneros, and I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, a mama of 3, and married for 24 years. Welcome to the Empowered and Unapologetic podcast, where we dive deep into the messy, chaotic, and sometimes hilarious world of mastering motherhood, marriage, and business. I get it. Balancing it all was never the goal, but here we are, trying anyway. I'm here to share my journey and guide you through yours. No more apologies for being driven, and definitely no compromises on your dreams. Together, we'll navigate the challenges of being a powerhouse in both business and family life. Join me as we tackle the uncomfortable conversations from being the breadwinner to changing the rules of what a marriage looks like. Let's figure out how to parent in a working parent household without the constant arguments or guilt. I'm Veronica Cisneros, and this is Empowered and Unapologetic, where we embrace the chaos, challenge the norms, and strive to live life on our own terms. Get ready for some real talk, actionable tips, and a few laughs along the way.
Welcome to the Empowered and Unapologetic podcast. I'm your host, Willie Cisneros. Today, we're going to do things a little bit differently here. I know you typically see my wife, Veronica Cisneros, hosting the Empowered and Unapologetic podcast. But today, we're going to do a little bit different. And the reason for that is because today, this episode, we're honoring Memorial Day and those veterans who have gave the ultimate sacrifice for the love of this country. It's going to be celebrated on Monday, May 27th. This day is going to address an essential topic as well. Mental health. Mental health, for those of you that don't know, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. You'll learn about the true meaning of Memorial Day, the sacrifices that are made by our military, and the impact of mental health on the military families. I'm also going to discuss some of the effective stress management tools that have helped me along the way, as well as many other veterans that I know from time to time that finding that your mental health and getting that right can be challenging at times. I know for me there was a stint in which I had, I think, over a course of 7 years, I had 11 different mental health providers because I couldn't find anyone that was challenging, that could help me, that really I connected with. Some that just tried to be my friend and just sat on their hands, didn't really do much for me. So I kind of bounced around and I just kind of felt like it was just going through this process of, I don't know, being like on a conveyor belt. And it just, it was tough. It was difficult. And I know that for those of you that are out there, mental health is something that is, it's important to you. And not just our veterans, but even those that are affected by mental health. So if you're listening, I'm going to give you some of the tips and tricks and some of the things that have helped me along the way, as well as just the importance of how military families, Memorial Day, and mental health kind of all come together. We'll also discuss some of the effective stress management tools to help you and your loved ones that navigate during these challenging times. So first and foremost, understanding Memorial Day. What is Memorial Day? Well, a lot of people during this time frame, they'll say, thank you to our veterans. Thank you for your sacrifices. Thank you for your service and things like that. I know that there's a lot of different veterans that are out there that sometimes they take this position where they get very defensive, very angry, and they're like, it's not for me. It's not for the ones that are still living. It's for those, my fellow brothers and sisters that died, that paid the damn ultimate sacrifice. It's not for us. Um, don't be an asshole. Don't be one of the ones that do that and that are, just say thank you. Um, educate that. Educate the individuals that don't know and aren't aware, especially when there's little kids or there's other individuals that go to you and tell you, thank you for your service. Um, I know that at times, if I hear that, I use it as an opportunity to teach. So do the same. It's observed on the last Monday of May. It's a federal holiday that's dedicated to honoring and remembering the men and women who have died in military service for the United States. This day is a time to reflect on the sacrifices that are made by our military personnel, and they pay tribute to their bravery and their dedication, their sacrifice. One of the things that you can do if you want to pay a huge thank you is visit your local national cemetery. Find out. You can go on the VA website and find out your NCA, your National Cemetery sites, and figure out where one is next to you. And there's a number of different veterans that are out there that are laid to rest. And you'll see a lot of flags. You'll see a lot of folks that are out there. And I know one of the things that organizations like the Home Depot does is they join Reefs Across America, which is another organization, and they put reefs on some of the sites. They put flags on all the burial sites. So you'll see a number of different volunteers that are out there over the weekend that are doing that, probably on Saturday. And Saturday, very early in the morning, that are going out there and just putting flags on grave sites. So if you want to go pay tribute, you want to say thank you, that would mean a lot for those families, especially for those that haven't had a visitor in quite some time. So the significance of Memorial Day, I talked about it. It's for that paying that ultimate sacrifice. We commemorate this Memorial Day to acknowledge the ultimate sacrifice that were made by those who served the armed forces. It's a day of remembrance. It's a day of gratitude. It reminds us of the cost of freedom and the fact that freedom isn't free. That it's paid with blood, sweat, and tears. And the importance of honoring our fallen heroes. Those are the true heroes. Guys that get paid for. If you put it onto a scale of salary, I definitely know that they're probably getting paid way less than California wages these days. And somebody working at like McDonald's or some other place, and they're doing a heck of a lot more. They're giving us the ability to be able to be thankful. And every single day we get to put our feet on the ground, maybe kiss our families before we go to work or before we start our day, and just taking for granted some of the things that we have. For some, like myself, it's the remembrance of an alive day. What's an alive day? Well, for me, it's the anniversary of the day it's the true meaning of it is that it's the anniversary of a day that a veteran almost died in combat, or the day that they survived a near-death event that had a major impact on their life. For me, my alive days are November 23rd, 2011, and February 3rd, 2012. Those are days that I was hit by an IED in Afghanistan while conducting combat operations. In Afghanistan, I came back and, things just weren't the same. Re-adaptation into society was different. It was tough. Kind of went along with the Mental Health Awareness Month. I didn't think I was broken. I didn't think I had anything wrong with me. And got evaluated before I got in the initial stages of my VA, clinical evaluations. And I was like, I know exactly what I'm going to do, what I'm going to say. I've been talked to by many veterans about, the preparations when it comes to like VA disabilities and stuff like that. And thought that I'd be faking the funk, and come to realize every question that they asked applied to me. There was no faking anything. Everything that I had encountered, every question that was asked, I was affected by it in some way or another. And when I left there, that was my first experience with, I think my wife called it a panic attack. And so I had a mental breakdown. I felt broken. Um, I wept. I cried like a big baby in my car. I had trouble breathing. I called my wife. She was actually in session during that time. And I just felt broken beyond repair. And it was hard just realizing that there was a lot of stuff that I had that probably was just festering up inside of me that was it was just it was built up over time, and it had been covered up by a lot of the things that just the high op tempo, and I never really had a chance to just sit in that discomfort and open up about it and talk about those things. And it was just like opening up old wounds. And once it did, it just opened up floodgates of emotion, and a whole bunch of other stuff, psychologically, physiologically, like all those things. Like just it was an avalanche of everything that you can expect, and it was just a feeling of brokenness. Um, so I would say that there's a lot of veterans that are out there that struggle with the same thing, especially when they're finishing their time in the military, especially for those that have gone through combat, survived near death events, um, had some pretty bizarre encounters, a lot of things where they stay at an ultimate high constantly, and they're able to suppress a lot of those emotions, and eventually it comes to an end. This is just a small chapter in your life, and at some point you got to get control of that, and you have to just learn to move on, find coping skills, find tools, talk to a professional, and see what you can do to get yourself some help. um, Mental Health Awareness Month is an opportune time to discuss the rising mental health issues in our society. A little bit of statistics. According to the post pandemic report from the American Psychological Association, mental health diagnoses have risen from 31% in 2019 to 45% in 2023. Stress management is failing for many, highlighting the need for better stress outlets and management strategies. So, what are the things that you've been taught, if you've been taught anything? Mindfulness, I know a lot of times comes to mind. Being aware of your surroundings. I know for many times I've had to go to places with my kids, things that made me feel uncomfortable, and I had to remind myself, like, I'm not over there anymore. I'm no longer in harm's way. Um, this is a safe space. This is a safe area. Am I hyper vigilant? 100%. Am I always looking at exits? Am I always looking at people and casing them, casing the area? Yes. Still to this day, and it's probably never going to stop. And that's just because of some of the things that have just been ingrained in me for so long, and it's gone over and over and over again. That's probably something that won't, may over time start to die away. But I just say that that's part of who we are, but learn to be more mindful of where you're at, what you're doing, who you're with, um, what you're hearing, your five senses, things like that. Stress management is failing. It's failing in a lot of ways. There's a number of different clinicians that I would say that um, what they're teaching in the books. Um, I would say that it's going to come down to what you learn in the field, what you do, what you experience, um, your connections, the way that you can relate with clients, and for those that are clients that are getting seen by a mental health professional, how are you opening up to your clinician? I know for myself, I was very guarded. I didn't want to open up at all. I was testing them and interviewing them as much as they were wanting to talk to me. I was trying to get a feel for them, and it was almost like I was interviewing them as well. And I was only giving them bits and pieces and not really opening myself up. Didn't really open up myself to vulnerability, um, because I didn't want to expose those wounds again. But at the same time, too, I was also kind of sizing them up. Are you good enough to be able to talk to me? Can you handle the things that I want to handle? And am I going to be able to be the one that's in control of my sessions instead of you telling me what we're going to talk about and how we're going to talk about it? Because I may not be ready for it, even though we want to move on. So in many times, I found myself being the one that was in control of many of the sessions, and and so I terminated my sessions with clinicians because I didn't find them to be strong enough to be able to, control everything, control my mental health plan and how we're going to continue. So,
Are you a high achieving woman feeling the weight of success, yet struggling to find balance in your personal and professional life? If your mind is constantly racing with endless to-dos, family demands, and the unspoken competition between career and marriage, you're not alone. It's time to peel back the layers and address the deep-rooted challenges. You've tried it all: vacations, bedtime schedules, restructuring your calendar, and heartfelt conversations with your husband. Despite your best efforts, the struggle persists, leaving you feeling unheard and stuck in a cycle of frustration. I get it. I've been there too. But here's the game changer. Empower X with me, a 4-month invite-only experience crafted exclusively for high-achieving women like you. This meticulously curated group is your sanctuary for support, knowledge sharing, and a community committed to scaling businesses while enriching family life. Picture this: virtual mastermind meetings with a sprinkle of coaching every 3 weeks lasting 2 hours, where you'll engage in deep dives into your challenges. It's a space for high-impact skill sharing, fostering growth, and unlocking breakthroughs in both your personal and professional life. As if that's not exciting enough, Empower X features an exclusive in-person retreat hosted by me in San Diego. Imagine practical workshops, meaningful connections, and a chance to strengthen our community bonds in a breathtaking beach setting. And the support doesn't stop there. With continuous access to our private messaging channel, you're just a message away from the guidance, advice, and camaraderie you need, including direct interaction with me. Ready to break free from the cycle and embrace a life where success doesn't come at the cost of your well-being? Apply now to Empower X. It's time to prioritize your aspirations, enhance your marriage, and approach motherhood with newfound confidence and support. Your journey to intentional living starts here. Go to veronicacisneros.org/EmpowerX. Again, that's veronicacisneros.org/EmpowerX. I'm so excited to meet you.
that's where I'd say that sometimes it's failing. Um, we need to find better stress outlets, um, and some management strategies. So for me, it was sometimes just taking a time out, walking outside, and sitting by myself, and just telling my family like, "Hey, I gotta step away." And they may ask, "What's wrong? What's going on?" I I just need a time out. And so you may need to do that. You may need to go out and just say like, too much is going on right now in my head, and I just need to clear my head. I need some time by myself. Um, if you'd respect that, please, and then just go out and do that. The call map has worked wonders for me, just to be able to be aware of kind of like my senses. What am I hearing? What am I feeling? And I go outside, and I could hear the water running from my pool, birds, the wind on my face, coldness on my body, um, a lot of different things. And I just tried to listen and really get in tune with some of those things. And it may seem like, tree hugger type bullshit, but I tell you that stuff, it does like bring you full circle as far as like where you're at and where you want to be, um, and getting you in a better mental state. Um, Box breathing, we've heard it as tacticians. A lot of times we've heard box breathing, or tactical breathing, or where you breathe in, hold it for a few seconds, blow it out for a few seconds, hold it for a few seconds, breathe in for a few seconds, hold it for a few seconds, blow out for a few seconds. Those are some of the things too to get yourself back to being even keeled. But whatever it is, whatever things that you need to do, music, um, taking a walk, things that are not harmful for your body. Stay away from drugs, stay away from alcohol and feeling like you have to drop pills or something like that to get yourself back to a baseline. I tell you that those things they're only masking agents, they're only band-aids to a really bigger underlying issue, and they can be toxic at times, especially if you become dependent on it and then you become addicted to it, and then eventually later on, then it's a full dependency, and it affects families, it affects everything else. It's a big domino effect. So learn to find other ways to be able to help yourself as far as your mental health, and tools and strategies that are less harmful to yourself. I could tell you that taking the other road, the road less desired, has an impact on military families. Mental health has an impact on military families. I could tell you that, for myself, I unfortunately had a few years ago, um, had to remember the life of one of my former Marines, who took his life because of mental health and his own mental health. And he felt like he was at a point that there was just no turning back. Um, Beautiful family, beautiful kids, um, loved by many. His Marines loved him. His family loved him. His kids loved him dearly. Um, he was one of my gunners. He was also my driver during a portion of my deployment. An avid Steelers fan, um, and the military families often face unique stressors, things like deployment. When you're gone, you're away. A lot of times they don't know what to expect, especially when you're going into a combat area where you don't know when and if you're going to be in harm's way. My first deployment, my deployment to Iraq was not like my deployment in Afghanistan, um, and not like deployments that I had overseas while I was on ship and deploying with the MEU. Those are significantly different. Being doing combat operations on the ground, things are more kinetic. Um, you know, Shooting, moving, doing all those types of things. Like it was significantly different, and so a lot of times when you communicate back and forth to the United States, to your families, it does impact your families at home. It impacts the kids, and it impacts the spouses that are trying to maintain that sanity, the families. Um, Constant worry by loved ones because they're worried about your safety. So that's another thing that kind of goes on. I know for my wife, she knew the days that something happened to me. She knew the days that we lost somebody. She could see it all over my face, and those were tough conversations. Um, I mean, I still can remember it to this day. What that was like, where I was at, um, and so just understand that although for the military members, the veterans that are out there that did survive those times, you know, it's they had their own sacrifices as well. They had their sacrifices back at home. You had your sacrifices away from your family. Um, and so it's a unique situation that only military families often understand. These challenges can be exacerbated by mental health issues, especially if those that are untreated. They can lead to issues like anxiety, depression, and other mental health disorders. The added stress of the pandemic has further strained these families, making effective stress management even more crucial. Well, why is it important? It's because the increase in mental health diagnosis and stress levels among military families is concerning. And without proper management, these issues can lead to severe consequences, including strained relationships, poor physical health, and unfortunately, even suicide. It's vital to recognize and address these problems to support the well being of military families and society as a whole. Well, how do you fix it? And how does it work for you? How can you make it work for you? Well, these are just some of the things that have worked for me. Mindfulness and meditation. Meditation, I'd say probably not as much for me, but I know that there's some folks out there that are, that this is something that's really really important to them. Finding a safe space. I've seen some people that actually do like some form of meditation when they do like cold plunges, just because you got to get your mind right to do something like that. It's good for mental health. It's good for your body. Produces good fat, brown fat, as well as just it's healing, reduces inflammation, things like that. Provides mental clarity. Um, so I've heard that doing that on a regular basis is overall really really good, and coupling that with meditation, it works wonders. Um, Mindfulness. I talked about it a little bit earlier when I talked about just maybe going for a walk or just sitting in where you're at and being mindful of the things around you. What do I hear? What do I see? What can I feel? What do I smell? What do I taste? Asking yourself those things and just kind of going through those things in your head. You could even do it while listening to another app or something that's kind of talking you through those things. I know one of the things I've done before with a provider, a tool that he gave me was, um, you kind of like do like a flexing thing, where you start with like your face and just scrunching everything up and holding it for a few seconds, and then releasing everything for a few seconds, and then repeating it for a few seconds, and then letting it go for a few seconds, and then doing the same thing like in your shoulders, bringing your shoulders up to your ears, and then bringing them down, but bringing them up and holding it just as long as you can, and then doing the same thing like all throughout your body. And just from what I understand, it provides you just a bunch of relaxation because you clear your head, you calm your body, and it's a way to reduce the stress that you're currently experiencing throughout your body physically. It also provides you just gets your mind out of where you were at and puts it in a different space. Practicing mindfulness and meditation can help reduce stress, and it can improve your mental clarity. Apps like Headspace and Calm, the Calm app, offer guided sessions that are tailored towards various needs. Physical activity. Physical activity, I've heard that 30 minutes a day, if you can. 30 minutes a day has done wonders to improve your overall health. And for men, it also extends, on the sexual side. It's actually good for you, and proven to reverse things that if you are having mental health issues that are affecting, you know, time in the bedroom, that regular exercise, 30 minutes a day, um, that can have a reverse effect that has been proven. It's also a way to help you reduce stress and improve your mood. Find an activity that you enjoy, whether it's running, yoga, dancing, whatever the heck it is. For me, when I retired, it was jujitsu, kickboxing, boxing, combat sports, things like that. Going to the gym. Those were some of the things that I enjoyed when I first got out. golfing maybe, mountain bike riding. Those are still some of the things I like doing. Hiking. I know it's weird. I graduated, got out of the military after 20 years of service in the United States Marine Corps, and I thought I was going to hate going on hikes, and I actually love them now that it's on my own terms. Therapy and counseling. That's another tool that's out there. There's things like Psychology Today, where you can look up people in your area, mental health professionals that are in your area, and find out somebody that you're looking for, whether it's by sex and you want to find somebody that's, for me, I would say as a man, I was more likely to open up to another man than I was a woman. For me, talking to a woman, I felt more guarded. I was more, I would say, just in talking with a woman, because of the way that I was brought up, like respectful. I didn't want to curse. I didn't want to just let it fly and just talk. Even though I was there, they're saying like, why are you so afraid to just say shit or fuck or whatever? And I'm like, this doesn't sound good on you. You're the one that's supposed to be talking to me, and you know, not talking that way and trying to get me to open up. That's not going to get me to open up. You don't even sound right. Um, like that was one of the things that turned me off about clinicians that were like that. They were trying to, I don't know, relate with me. I guess that's not the way to do it. Um, but yeah, you want to make sure that you find a mental health provider that you can relate to, and you don't have to continue therapy. I didn't know that, and my wife is a licensed marriage and family therapist. For those listeners that are out there that have heard her show plenty of times, you all know that she's a licensed marriage and family therapy, has her own practice, and yet I would go to these places, and I'd be like, maybe next time will be better, and I go, next time is not better, and I say, we were onto something, and then, God, I wish we could. Maybe we'll pick it up the next time. And I go again like an idiot, and eventually I'd be like, I'm not going back to this place. This is a waste of my time. So it's as much of them trying to find and make sure that they're doing all that they can for you as it is you for them. So make sure that you find the right person that fits for you and is going to challenge you. It's going to look at some of the underlying issues. It's kind of like that picture when you look at the iceberg that's sitting on the water, and it talks about like these are all the stuff, the things that they're looking at. You want to make sure that they're going under the water and that they're looking at everything beneath the surface, and that they're peeling out some of those scabs, because some of those issues and those things that you've encountered in the military may also be from things that are beneath the surface that are from your childhood. I didn't know that. So a lot of that can be heightened because of some of your previous experiences. So get the help that you need. Find professional help. Find yourself a mental health professional that can provide valuable support and coping strategies that are going to help you along the way. Consider individual or family therapy to address specific challenges. So if, say, for instance, your mental health is providing you an inability to adapt and maybe go into public places, or you're not able to connect with your children anymore, or you're not able to connect with your wife or your husband or whomever, your family, and the person that you were is no longer existent, then definitely it's something that you should look into. And if there are other things that are going on where it would be beneficial for everybody to go, maybe your kids are trying to wondering, how do I talk to my dad? How do I talk to my mom? They're not the same person as they were years ago, and he or she is very short fused, and I don't know what to do anymore. I feel like anything I do it's wrong, and I talk to them about things. I've tried this, and I don't know what to do. I don't know how to talk to them. Family therapy sessions may be the answer for you. Community support. There's a number of different support groups that are out there for military families that can foster a sense of community and sharing understanding. Organizations like the National Military Family Association offers resources and support. There's also countless of other organizations that are out there. The Semper Fi Fund, America's Fund, Those are organizations that get people together. There's a program called Waves in Southern California where they teach veterans to go out scuba diving, and they try to build bonds with veterans and build just that life of, I guess it's kind of maintaining that high, that adrenaline rush, but also being able to go out, learn a new skill, get out amongst other veterans, and they take you out. They pay for everything. I have a friend of mine that just came back from, I believe it was Costa Rica or Honduras, that was out just scuba diving, and they paid for it all. So there's organizations like that. There's just a number of different organizations that are out there. So if you ever have any needs, look up some of those organizations, and there's a lot of folks that are willing, that want to help. And I would say the last thing is having a healthy lifestyle, making healthy choices, maintaining a balanced diet. Are you getting enough sleep? Are you avoiding substance abuse, which is crucial for mental health? A lot of times I used to say to my Marines, the 4 pillars are, are you getting enough sleep? Are you eating enough? Are you exercising enough? And where's your stress level at? So if any one of those areas are affected, where you're not eating enough, you spike your insulin levels, you start to put on weight, start to feel more sluggish. If you're not exercising, but you're doing maybe some of the other things, may be okay. You may be able to maintain for some time. If you're not getting sleep, same thing, that can affect your insulin levels, and you'll start to put on weight. You'll feel like you're out of shape. Your ability to recuperate, recover, and repair your body is going to be less likely because you're running low on batteries. So you got to make sure that you're getting enough sleep. And then stress. Think about the things that are stressing you in life. Are you able to get those things worked out, get the help that you need? Just be more mindful, asking for help, asking for support. Doesn't mean that you're broken. Sometimes it's just a bad day, bad week, bad month, bad year. It's not forever. So don't try to do something. I would say, don't make a decision to fix a temporary problem with a permanent fix. And the last thing I'll leave with is that honoring Memorial Day while utilizing, prioritizing mental health. It's essential for the well-being of military families in our society. By understanding the significance of this day and implementing effective stress management strategies, we can support those who have sacrificed so much for our freedom. If you want some more information and resources, please visit www.outsidethenormcounseling.com. And I want to thank you all for today for tuning in to Empowered and Unapologetic Podcast. And don't forget to subscribe for more empowering content. Stay strong, stay empowered, and until next time, take care.
Raise your hand if you are ready to level up your marriage for 2023. Do you find that you're spending your time together with your husband checked out and in front of the TV? I know you're ready for tangible strategies that actually get you results. Reignite the spark in your marriage, have fun, and grow together. Well, I hope you have your hand raised at this minute because I have something special for you. I'm introducing my brand new 6-question marriage predictor quiz that's gonna give you personalized results to catapult you into the next stage of your marriage journey. That means you'll receive the results to where your marriage can get the best help. If you've got just 1 minute, head to veronicacisneros.org/quiz. Again, that's veronicacisneros.org/quiz, and you could take my brand new quiz, Marriage Predictor. Get your results delivered right to your email address. Again, that's veronicacisneros.org/quiz, veronicacisneros.org/quiz. What's up, ladies? Just want to let you guys know that your ratings and reviews for this podcast are greatly appreciated. If you love this podcast, please go to iTunes right now, write a review, rate the
I'm Madeline, and I'm the host of the Happiest Sober podcast. I got sober in my 20s after a decade of gray area drinking, and the greatest plot twist of all time was realizing that alcohol, the thing that I thought made my life the most happy and fun and exciting, was actually the exact thing preventing me from living my happiest and best life. My mom is 40 years sober, and she joins me on my podcast very often. I like to call her my part-time co-host, and I also bring you solo episodes where I share my top tips, tricks, and mindset shifts in sobriety, and lots of how-tos for navigating all the things sober, from weddings to parties to holidays to bachelorette parties to trips. I'm also joined by so many guests who come on and share their sober stories, and they're all so inspiring. I'm here to show you that life doesn't end when you quit drinking. In fact, it's very much the opposite. And no matter what your relationship was with alcohol, life can be the absolute happiest when you're sober. New episodes come out every Tuesday. You can listen to Happiest Sober podcast wherever you get your podcasts.